The comic opens up with Mary J. Watson having a conversation with J. Jonah Jameson on his podcast. She's been invited to talk about her book, War-Torn Symkaria, which unfortunately isn't selling that well. Jameson, being Jameson, advises her to make the book sexier to make it sell better. However, that isn't even the worst of it. He makes a few more misogynistic remarks before blaming her romance with photographer Peter Parker as the reason she couldn't write a good book. Just as Mary Jane has had enough of the interview, both Miles and Peter come crashing in through the window along with Tarantula. Apparently, he got his ass kicked by both the Spider-Men, and he's coming back to restore his honor. Both Miles and Peter haven't worked together in a while, and they are still rusty when it comes to teamwork. Nevertheless, they still manage to take Tarantula down and flee from the scene while thanking Mary J for saving her from that interview. Back at Peter's apartment, he reveals both Miles and he may have deliberately crashed her interview because of how badly it was going. When confronted, Peter manages to redirect the conversation to Mary J's book. Do I wish my book hadn't been bombed? Yes, but that doesn't change the way I feel about my job. Good old Mary J, as conscientious as ever. When it comes to money though, Peter isn't doing that well either since he's been devoting his time to getting a teacher's certificate. He suggests Mary J move in with him to help him with the finances, but well, Mary J, she's conflicted. We're never going to get that happily ever after, are we? Anyways, Miles arrives and Mary J immediately points out how his and Peter's teamwork felt a bit rusty today. Peter has had a lot on his mind, but so is Miles since he's figuring out college. Still conflicted between what to major in, tech or music. He's told to trust his gut and let his heart figure it out. Miles tells the gang he wants to make adjustments to a piece of spider tech and needs some parts for it. Both Peter and Mary J decide to join in on the mission. As they arrive at the parts shop, Peter's spider sense picks up something happening inside it. Mary J goes around the back to investigate while Peter and Miles change into their spider suits. What do you know? They find a couple of hooded crooks trying to steal some cars. The crooks declare that their leader is a Magus who has the forces of darkness at his command. As the fight continues, the men turn invisible, which still doesn't save them from getting manhandled by the spiders. The police arrive at the scene and the trio explains to them what transpired at the car repair shop. Interestingly enough, even though the mess corroborates Peter and the gang's story, the police can't find a single person inside. Perhaps the guys weren't kidding about the magic and used it to escape. MJ discovers that the guys they encountered at the shop have been on a crime spree for the past few days. They've been stealing everything from cash to electronics. When she's done digging data on all the past locations the gang has hit, she sends it over to Peter. At the same time, Peter gets a lead on his neighborhood-friendly Spider-Man app. A jewelry store has been flagged for mysterious activity, and Peter has a hunch they'll find their guys there. Both Peter and Miles make short work of the hooded gentlemen since they know their bag of tricks. Miles finds that the men aren't using magic, but cloaked tech, something that his friend-turned-villain, the Tinkerer, developed. It looks like the man leading the crooks got his hands on her tech and decided to keep it for himself. MJ gets the captured men to spill the beans on their leader, whom they think to be an actual magic user since he can turn them invisible and walk on air. Miles points out that that might be the work of the programmable matter boots, something that was also developed by the Tinkerer. Moreover, even though the men don't know the true identity of their leader, they point out that he's in the market to buy an ancient magical artifact. That's his reason for making the men steal anything and everything. Suddenly, the lights in the shop go dark and the man of the hour arrives, the leader of the crooks, the Hood himself. Peter and the gang try their best to fight the Hood off and partially succeed. Why partially? Well, when the Hood is down, his lackeys manage to attack the spiders again, allowing their master to escape. In the aftermath, the gang reassesses their teamwork and vows to do better. Meanwhile, Peter decides to use MJ's intel to interrogate all the main players in the smuggling world in order to find out what the Hood is buying. Peter gets a lead, and he immediately teams up with Miles in order to catch the seller of the artifact, and the Hood red-handed. They arrive at a pier, but the seller has already fled away. Fortunately, though, Peter spots the Hood ducking away into an abandoned building. Both Miles and Peter silently sneak up to the Hood inside the building when they come across something unexpected. The Hood, or Parker Davis Robbins, is just a kid using the artifact to cure his mother's illness. While he reassures her that this will put an end to their struggle, his mother wants him to stop stealing to pay her hospital bills or to buy a miracle cure. Unfortunately, the artifact doesn't work as advertised, and is unable to cure his mother's cancer. Having seen enough, both Spider-Men confront Parker and a fight ensues. However, it doesn't last long when Parker's mother tells him to stop and to be there for her in her last moments. Parker joins his mother at her bedside, but just then the police arrive. The Spider-Men tell Parker not to worry about it and decide to cash in some favors with the policemen, having saved their lives countless times. This buys Parker some time to spend with his dying mother. Unfortunately, he doesn't need that long as his mother has already passed. Dejected, he hands himself over to the police, saying that the reason for his fight is gone. The following day, the gang gathers again, and each comes clean about their anxieties for the future. Parker tells MJ that initially, he got insecure when MJ refused to move in with him, but he realizes he's lucky to have her. MJ tells him that even though she's been hiding it, she's actually bummed about her book not doing as well. At least they were able to reunite a son with his dying mother in her last moments. And then there's Miles, who's pursuing both his passions, technology and music at ESU, Peter's alma mater. As they say their goodbyes to each other, MJ walks back to Daily Bugle, where she works as a journalist. However, something tells me she'll not be working there for long since J. Jonah Jameson has successfully bought it back.